What's happening, fandoms? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we react to music videos and shows. Today we're back to The Expanse. This is Season 6, Episode 3, Force Projection, and as of this episode, we are officially halfway through the final season. Had a short break for some family vacation time, but we're back on The Expanse here, and we will be wrapping it up very rapidly. In the last episode, we saw some crucial elements come into play. One, we saw towards the very end, Clarissa going outside of the Rocinante to help defend and protect the crew, and she wasn't really qualified to be out there, and she kind of got hurt, and as a result, Holden sort of accepted her verbally as crew, because if you're part of his crew, you're under his protection, and he doesn't want her going into situations she can't handle, and so he kind of tacitly basically stated that she's part of the crew now, which is a step, right? Because he was definitely not happy about her being there. In the books, there was quite a bit more confrontation and tension about Clarissa than I felt like there's been here, but we just don't have that much time for it, so that makes sense. The other thing, the big thing that we saw happen was the beginnings, well, I guess the continuing of the beginning of Drummer's rebellion against Inaros and starting to form alliances with other parts of the belt that aren't necessarily fully on board with him. In the books, this is utterly, completely different, obviously, because Drummer is not this same character. The captain that takes the role that Drummer is holding here is Michio Pa, and she controls a small subset of the Free Navy, and about midway through the book, she is plotting to stop working with Marco directly and just start working for the belt in general, because she feels like Marco's aims and goals are not aligned with hers, and this is represented in spirit by Drummer and her small splinter navy attracting other people around the belt that could help her with her goals. And I really like the Drummer through line story in the shows, because Michio is really a small-time character through most of the first 5 books, and she comes into prominence in book 6, really. She exists previous to that, but she's really not a big character in a lot of ways. We saw her, I think, in we would have seen her in season 6, except that the stories were rewritten. She would have been prominent on the Behemoth during the ring space sequences. So another thing that I keep seeing, which is as I'm rereading through book 6, I keep seeing all of these mentions of both Anderson Dawes and Fred Johnson being alive and actively participating in the planning and plotting of various events, Anderson on the side of Marco and Johnson against him. And I've been examining them as I read through them, and for the most part, they are pretty inconsequential. They could easily just never happen, and you wouldn't really necessarily feel that in the plot. So I think it's not going to be difficult at all for them to just kind of ignore any pieces that those characters would have played, since they've written them both off as dead now in the show. All right, with that said, I think we're going to dive into this and see where we go. Okay, we are, Laconia, back to Laconia. In the story, there's many mentions of these stick moons
We all come from
which are
different
probably
places and
satellites.
for different reasons. Annie's family came from L4 with the survey group. I came from Mars with the fleet.
I told you, stop following me. Come on, let's go.
Yep. Uh-huh. These dogs are robots or some sort of creature that fixes broken stuff in the environment.
You fixed her.
Yeah.
You fixed her. You fixed things.
You fix things. Terrible foreshadowing. Oh, those little Celia hair things on the tops of their heads. Gross.
Mama, you'll never believe what happened.
I wonder how fast we're gonna see that. Imagine we'll get a reveal. It'll take a while. We'll probably see the results of that story in the finale.
Attention.
Yep, this is what drives Michio, I think, to do what she does, because Marco strips Ceres of all of its resources and takes off. Yeah, they do a big clearing action, but all they're gonna find is a bunch of abandoned belters with almost no food or water.
Seeing lots of gear stripped out.
Okay.
Do you know who I am?
Is there a belter who doesn't?
You worked for Anderson Dawes. He was a reasonable man.
Was.
More comfortable with violence than I would have liked, but with a keen eye for the possible.
Dawes had a vision. I shared it. Only enough food and air for approximately 3 weeks.
Marcos inherited them a problem. Now they have to take care of
Never
them.
enough for you.
I suppose we'll find out.
We don't use coercion, ma'am. We don't need to.
Yeah. They have their focus drugs that lets them detect all of the lying.
Release the prisoner. Keep them and any direct contacts under surveillance. And turn it into a trap.
Yep.
And we're in it now.
Now they're
If he were in
responsible.
this position, he wouldn't lift a finger to keep our people alive. This is his mess.
And he made it ours. If we don't help this station, we will be the ones responsible for a massive humanitarian
Yeah.
crisis.
She
The
knows.
Bells will see us once again as the oppressor, and Inaro's power will continue to grow.
Meanwhile, on Earth, billions are dying and they're starving to death. It's the Rossi's profile, I think. Yep. What are they gonna do on Ceres?
Looks like clear sailing all the way to Ceres.
I'm not ready to fly a ship like this.
It's just point A to point B from here. The Rossi does that fine on her own.
Wow.
In that case,
Level of trust. Whoa.
You all right?
yeah, I'm fine. It's been a while since I used my mods. It's taking longer to flush out of my system than it used to. I used my mods to kill a man.
Multiple.
My bare hands. His name was Ren.
Oh,
He
that
was a
one.
nice man. He had a family. He trained me, stood up for me, and was nothing but good to me.
R.I.P. Ren. He was a good one.
My mods. I see his face.
Everybody on this ship has something they regret. Including Amos, I think. You're in good company.
Wow.
I have to watch him.
Well, if he hadn't confirmed she was part of the crew before that, that was a really touching moment. Damn.
Anything other than noodles, bars, and brothels?
I never look.
He's
Free Navy is
very
in
straightforward.
Your lives were lost, and a major port is back in our control. How can you construe that as anything other than a win?
How much of our own food will be redirected to start feeding these terrorists?
It's okay to talk about it.
I didn't want to push.
It says Rossi OS on the screen there. Interesting. They have their own version.
It came time to go out the door, and for a few seconds, I was back on the Bella, in the airlock without a suit.
Similar incidents of ships that went missing after ring transits and she came through, but there's a ton of data. I could really use some help making sense of it.
They're gonna dig through and finally.
You're trying to distract me by giving me an interesting problem.
That might be true. Be interesting to see what they actually come up with for this ship's disappearing problem.
You don't seem concerned.
Can't say that I am.
3 new UNN capital ships and 2 Martian Dungeon class. That's more than we expected.
Oh, they rebuilt their forces quickly. They will need them.
This is nothing to be happy about.
Why should I be sad? We will overcome it.
The routes our ships are going to have to take to collect supplies for Medina.
We will hit and run and be gone before they know what hit.
Interesting. They
Father,
are plotting a guerrilla war.
I have a word, please.
Marco is tolerating very little of his shit, I
They're
think.
calling us cowards.
Who exactly are they?
Dissidents on the news. Left them barely enough to
We
survive.
left the inners with a problem that they had to deal with. Tied up
Yep.
their resources and weakened them.
Yeah. Marco has very little humanity, but Philip has a little bit, I think. Interesting.
It speaks well of you that you care about them. But the Belters on Ceres are not like us.
I feel bad for Philip. He's being constantly coerced into worse and worse acts. Marco is...
So, these colleagues of yours.
The Gault has 3 shotgun PDCs and 1 missile rack. I remember it pretty well. Took some doing to spin it up right.
You said Marco had several of these caches.
Yeah, could be as many as 10 from what I heard.
For what purpose? The Free Navy controls most of the major stations in the belt. Why go to such trouble to hide supplies like this?
Maybe hedging his bet for when the inners will come.
Definitely.
Which now they have. You tell me. Strategy is for generals.
Is Saberhagen. Speaking also for the Gulf. Captain Drummer, we was Golden Bow. Now we fight with you.
Good.
Okay.
I'm ready for a fight.
Yep, she's spinning up her fleet.
All of the main docks, including the refueling stations, the secondary ports, and the maintenance yards will be secured next.
How are the locals taking it?
Poorly.
The pastor has a knack for eliciting sympathy.
Pastor Anna.
Well, my next piece will be better.
Yeah, propaganda campaigns.
Because Ayan Hesh has a knack for causing trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, for getting into it, I don't know if she causes it. She definitely is a trouble magnet.
Rocinante.
They're headed for cities.
To rejoin the inners, no doubt.
Philip sees his mom.
We can't be sure what else is out there without active scans, and we can't give away our position.
They are nearly within missile range.
It is not the right time.
You should learn to recognize an opportunity when one presents itself. Battle stations!
Oh boy, it's on.
Will you take the guns?
Whoa, you're gonna make Philip shoot down his own mom. Harsh.
Weapons to my son.
I Captain.
I hope this finds you well. Sorry, that was trite.
That's the plant guy.
Prax.
The Free Navy shot a researcher in my lab today. They said she was a spy. Her name was Corvonidis. The past year, we've been working on ways to improve crop yields for food.
Yep, I remember this storyline.
Corvonidis was developing a new strain of yeast with robust proofing polymerase.
He's got a whole new family now. There's nothing in this for him.
Yep.
He's just a good guy.
Prax is a good guy.
If Prax thinks it's important, then it is. Chrissy will know what to do with it.
The old lady really loves it when you call her that.
At least I say it to her face.
Didn't we come here to shoot these people?
Uh-huh. Don't be an asshole.
We can edit that out.
Sorry, man. Asshole.
Yep. Oh, they're...
Unter Marisch, harsch vorgib hip for the belting.
Oh, what is... What the hell? I don't remember Marco sabotaging.
We're too far away!
It's the only chance we've got. Everybody brace for a hard spin.
Oh. Wow. 3 skips, 360, no scope.
They're venting atmosphere. Idiots.
Granicus is requesting permission to disengage for 8.
We don't need either of them. Flag.
Where are you going?
We gotta fix them.
In the middle of the fight?
That's the job, Peaches.
Oh my god.
Everyone brace! Did we get him?
Yeah, give them something else to worry about.
Huh.
Converging and manual PDCs to me.
Copy that. Everyone hang on.
Wow. Let's go, Bobby. Oh, damn.
Marco's better as a prisoner than a martyr.
Oh.
Yeah, but he's never gonna surrender. They're not gonna be down for long. Our window's closing.
If that doesn't work, you fire.
If what doesn't work, you can't. Damn.
Power down and send us your control codes.
Really?
Direct hit, but no detonation. Reactors ready.
God damn it, a dud now! Fuck!
Holden did it.
Disengage.
Holden did it.
Withdraw.
Why?
Did we win?
No. But at least we didn't lose.
Yep, disarmed. That's what I thought.
Numbers in bad
Why?
shape. Granicus is engaged in rescue operations.
It's not a 3-to-1 advantage if 2 of the ships withdraw.
All of our decks have been repressurized, but we still have a number of breaches in the outer hull.
That was your pride.
That was you. Just you wanting to kill the man.
You are relieved of duty!
Damn.
Off this deck and out of my sight.
Step into the man himself. What about it, Philip? But everybody saw that. And they don't think he's wrong.
Bossman, Medina Station is pleased to report that RSR G6 was just received at Laconia Ring Gate. Operational testing will commence as soon as possible, and we will, of course, keep you fully apprised.
What the hell is that?
If this one performs as well as the others, it will be fun.
Damn. I did not expect a 3-to-1 battle between the Rossi and Marco's main fleet. I'm also surprised that he's traveling in such a small battle group with only 3 ships. I expected that there would be a lot more. In the books, they did describe the Free Navy scattering in all directions, which we didn't see anything like that here in the show. In fact, here it almost seemed like the combined Navy expected them all still to be at Ceres, which none of them were. Very interesting. We're seeing some stuff that definitely was not, as far as I could tell, not part of the books. Obviously, the drummer stuff is created whole cloth, well, based on the storyline of Michio Pa and her taking her piece of the Free Navy to go and collect these caches of supplies and deliver them to Belters, not to Marco. And this direct confrontation between the Rocinante and the Pella, man, that was, I mean, I really love the way that they're portraying all of this stuff. I did not expect them to be doing 360 spins with railgun shots. Like, that's some crazy stuff. Man, that's so awesome. The first time they did it, it blew my mind. Awesome stuff. Love how they portray the space battles and space flight in general. The plan Bobby put together to make it so that the Pella couldn't effectively dodge, little brilliant, you know, based on her analysis of the pilot's tendencies. If you're gonna have a split-second reaction to something and it's the same every time, predictable enough to take advantage of. And Bobby is brilliant. Love how Bobby is portrayed in this. She's so smart and martial, so hands-on with the tactics and stuff. Very cool. We're continuing to see that Philip is not Marco. I mean, it's very obvious that he's not Marco, but he doesn't share all of the same megalomania, the same fanatical drive, the willingness to sacrifice anything to accomplish his goals. The move that Marco makes with Ceres is harsh. It is a huge betrayal to the people that he said he was going to be the leader of. But it's also a brilliant tactical move, because you surrender not an asset to Earth and Mars and the combined fleet, but a massive problem that they are now responsible for. And the situation that they're in, with Earth essentially dying off beneath their feet and having no food supply, no food production, and people starving to death by literally the billions. And then they add more people that they have to ship food off to, just to just to keep the rest of the belt from rebelling against them. That's pretty harsh. Although, on the scale of things, 1 million people on Ceres is nothing compared to the amount of food that they actually need for the billion starving on Earth. So it's a scale thing. They could take probably one shipment that they would need for, you know, out of 1,000 for Earth and feed Ceres with it. But where's the food coming from? There's no food. Ganymede is barely keeping the belt alive. Earth is definitely not keeping Earth alive. So yeah, this storyline with the manufactured proteins with Prax and his lab on Ganymede is definitely straight from the books, although the way that it's being portrayed, rather than being a first-person perspective of the situation there, we're mostly hearing about it in news reports and messages. So we're not getting the same sort of feeling, because in the books we actually get a Prax POV for a while, and we experience him deciding whether or not to be a part of this faction that wants to send this information off to Earth, I guess, because Earth is starving to death, and he's you know, weighing the fact that if he decides to be a part of this little rebellion, he could literally be killed, because his researcher colleague, who was part of that faction and was simply trying to send that information off, was killed for it. So it is definitely a harsh situation that Prax is in on Ganymede. It didn't really betray that much in the way that he worded his message, but the situation there is dire as well. The Free Navy has control of Ganymede, as well as all of the other major ports in the belt. So if anyone were to be seen assisting Earth, especially with their starvation problem, it would be dealt with harshly, and was. Yeah. Amazing space battle episode. I really enjoyed that, and it was actually pretty quick given the nature of what was happening there. The tactic of the 360 spin shots taking out those other ships, brilliant. I love it a lot. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave it right there. We're almost done with this series, and it's a sad thought that there's no more visual portrayal of this show after this season, because it's been so good. And I really appreciate all you guys that have been following along with the show, with your likes and comments and so on. Really appreciate you guys. All right. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you in the next episode.